Have you ever felt like your life is a puzzle with a missing piece, leaving you searching for where you truly belong? That was me for almost 2 years. My job was draining me, and I wasn't happy as I used to be. Life felt like a hamster wheel, always rushing with no time to enjoy anything. The cost of living kept going up, and my earnings disappeared faster than a magician's rabbit. I kept wondering, how can life be in other parts of the world? Then, one day, my boyfriend told me his company had offered him a job in an exotic land. He wasn't sure what to do, but before he could finish talking, I blurted out my thoughts. I told him to grab that offer like it was the last slice of pizza. Even though I had never been there before, it felt like a huge chance we couldn't let slip away. Where do you think we ended up? Imagine wandering through bustling markets filled with exotic smells, exploring places echoing with stories of the past, so stunning they take your breath away. Tradition and modernity live side by side. This is the magical experience I had when I made my second life-changing move. For the first 10 months, we lived nearly 6,000 miles apart. My luck was that my job allowed me to twist my schedule like a pretzel, with countless shift changes enabling me to visit him every 2.5 months. On December 20, 2015, after an 11-hour flight without a wink of sleep, I finally landed for my first time in Bangkok. My boyfriend was waiting for me with open arms, but as soon as we stepped outside, the heat and humidity hit me like a warm, wet blanket fresh out the dryer. But guess what? I was already in heaven. We took a taxi to his condo. Bangkok streets were a kaleidoscope of color, sound, and barely controlled chaos. Tuk-tuks waved through traffic like bumblebees. After 26 floors in the elevator, when I looked out at the view from the balcony, it felt like I was on a roller coaster, but without a safety bar. That's when it really hit me. I wasn't in my old world anymore. This wasn't just a new city. This was a whole new world with a new me waiting to be discovered. Little did I know, my real adventure was just beginning. He immediately wanted to show me the nearby streets, to see how different it was from Europe. As soon as we turned into one of the many small streets full with food stands, I was hit by 1,000 smells and all kinds of food. He thought I'd be shocked, but instead I had a look of bliss and a broad smile. In 1 second, all my worries went away, and my love for this place grew with every step I took. What would you do if you find yourself in a bustling city where every corner promises a new adventure? During the week, I was alone from morning to late evening, always exploring. Even though it was a big city, I had never felt so safe in my life. I was fascinated by the simplicity of the people, by the feeling of not being judged for how you dressed, by their kindness and constant smiles. You realize how beautiful simplicity is in a world where we are not used to it anymore, at least in Italy. How would you feel being in a place where everybody greets you with a smile? We live in a world where expensive shoes or fancy cars matter, while here there are people who have just enough to live but seem happier than we are. This land of smiles was changing me. I was becoming a completely different person, and I liked myself much more. I was worried that I felt so good only because I was there just a few days at a time, like a vacation. I needed to know if staying longer would change how I felt. I decided to take a 6-month leave of absence before resigning. During that time, nothing changed, and my boyfriend was on my same wave. I became more and more certain that this was where I wanted to be. So, with all my life in one luggage, I moved. One day I got lost in some small streets and I started to worry. But an old kind lady saw that I needed help. Without saying anything, she took my arm and she led me back to the main road. Her kindness showed me so much, even though we weren't able to speak to each other. So I decided I needed to learn at least the basics for daily life. And I went for 1 month to school. Even though I knew a little bit of Thai already, it was an incredibly tough month. But it helped me to fill all those gaps in the rules that I hadn't understood. I can't speak fluently and I will never be able to, but enough to get by and make myself understood. It's amazing how people smile when they hear that you know a little bit of Thai. They really appreciate it. Have you ever tried to learn a new language? Trying to pronounce Thai words correctly is like attempting to eat soup with chopsticks, but incredibly rewarding. After finishing my month of school, I'll never forget my first successful conversation in Thai. I was buying fruit at a local market, and when I managed to haggle the price down in broken Thai, obviously, the vendor started laughing so loud. We ended up chatting for at least 10 minutes with a lot of gestures and jiggles, but at the end, I left the market with 3 extra mangoes and a sense of accomplishment that no classroom could provide. About work, I felt lost. Finding a job without special skills is impossible. In Thailand, you can do jobs that local people can do. So I used the time to take online courses, learning Excel, 3D modeling, and how drawing 3D furniture with my partner's help. Of course, I didn't have a work permit and we weren't married, so I could only stay in Thailand with a tourist visa. Every 2 months, I had to leave the country for at least 1 night before I could come back in. I became so familiar with border crossings, I half expected to get a frequent flyer card from immigration. By the way, what's on your mind? Spill the beans, let me know in the comments. My wardrobe simplified dramatically, with no need of winter clothes, and my feet rejoiced in the freedom of flip-flops year-round. I was amazed to find out I could live without car, something I'd never imagined possible. Public transport and long walks became my new normal. And I completely forgot about the hassle of parking and traffic jams. Well, at least as a driver. The chaotic traffic now experienced as a passenger was a daily adventure I hadn't bargained for. The pollution, especially during certain seasons, was something to be mindful of. I was there when the king died in October 2016, and what I saw was unlike anything I'd ever seen before. The whole country seemed to stand still, wrapped in grief. The first month was surreal. Every bar closed and the usual busy nightlife replaced by quiet. Everyone wore black clothes, and most of them did this for a whole year. I'll never forget the sight of long lines at the royal palace, people waiting patiently for hours to pay their final respects to their beloved king. The whole country was truly mourning. This shared sadness, this feeling of loss, is something I'll never forget. This showed me how people can respect and love a leader, something I'd never imagined possible. So, if you ever feel that itch for something new, or that desire for a place that seems like an adventure waiting to happen, listen to it. You never know what amazing experiences are out there just waiting to be found and how they can change your life. And stay tuned, because there is a third big move that took me on another incredible journey. But that's for the next video.